Hello guys and welcome back to The Only Way We Knew, father and daughter podcast with myself, Ria.
And myself, Mem, the father of Ria.
You already know. So, we are back again.
Hold up. The Only Way We Knew, the crime psychological thriller based on true events soon to be released. A novel that me and Ria have created and co-written. So I always have to mention that, alright? Because
if you guys didn't know already.
There is a moral between... For all these podcasts, there is a moral to it. It does lead into something. It doesn't seem to make sense right now, but as you carry on watching these things, you will realise, right, I actually get it. All right, so there is a moral to it. All right, so
there is indeed. So last time we were speaking with you, we were talking about culture, ethnicity. I disclosed to Dad his DNA results, which was a very eventful.
I loved it. Yeah. No, I absolutely loved it. I thought to myself, you pulled one on me there. But yeah, I loved it.
How are you feeling about that now? Have you let it sink in?
Well, I feel a little bit Italian. I feel a little bit Jewish. I feel all over the place. A little bit
of it all.
Yeah, but I am still Turkish, all right?
You are.
My culture is Turkish Cypriot, and I'm very, very proud of it, all right? But it was very enlightening. Very, very enlightening.
I found it enlightening for myself also because I don't think I fully realised that whatever my dad is means I am too. So
it flows down. It cuts down.
Yeah, exactly.
So today, what is it about? Tell me, hit me.
So today I thought we should talk about the topic.
The topic?
Family.
Okay.
Family. So again, another really strong subject that runs throughout our novel, The Only Way We Knew. But a very strong subject that also runs in our lives personally.
And everyone's lives.
Everyone's lives too. So I thought it would be good to have a little chat about that. You know, we can share our thoughts, feelings on some controversial topics.
So what I just say is that just to give everyone a little bit of an insight, I don't know what topic we talk about. Ria thinks about it during the day. She gives me a couple of options what it could be about, and I sort of drizzle my day all day long on these silly ideas of what it could be, and I normally get it wrong, but she has thrown at me family today, so we don't know where this is going to go. All right, so
we never know where it's going to go.
We don't know where it's going to go.
We just hope for the best.
Yeah, so we have sort of like she's just said family to me, and I'm like, oh my God, here we bloody go.
Yeah, I'm sure you got a lot to say on our family, haven't you, Dad?
I have. Can I just say something about it? Yeah. I've just finished my dinner and I had a, what's it called? Stewed chicken? What was
Brown
it?
stew chicken.
Brown stewed chicken. It was absolutely divine, and my amazing partner Rebecca cooked it. Now this is where, like you just mentioned, family, yeah? So this is where family gets exciting, but daunting, but scary, and all the rest of the rubbish that goes along with it. So Rebecca cooked me a brown stew chicken curry. What was taught by Ria. So I sat down with this brown stew curry, and I have Ria and Rebecca around me watching me eat it for the first time.
And it's something my mum does anyway. Whatever she cooks my dad, she will literally watch him.
So what she wants to do is find out if her brown stew chicken is better than Ria's brown stew chicken.
And I was like, whose is better, Dad? I was mainly just trying to wind my mum up. I was just trying to wind her up. But I was like, actually, no, whose is better? You still haven't answered whose is better.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I shit myself. Because at the end of the day, I've got you beside me that is like, I don't want to upset you. And then I've got your mum there that I definitely don't want to upset. You know, so it's like, what do I do?
Right.
You know, but yeah, they're all very, very lovely.
But now that mum's not here, whose is the best?
I hope she don't get annoyed with me.
We can't guarantee that.
It was yours, all right?
Aww.
Okay, it was yours. I didn't want to say anything, but yeah, brown stew chicken for dinner tonight. It was absolutely divine. So if you hear me burp, fart, shit, throw up, it was brown.
That's why.
That's where the father is in the family.
But yeah, so our family itself, you're pretty unlucky, to be honest. You're the only man in our little circle, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
I've got no brothers.
I put up with a lot. I put up with a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, can I just say some bits? I want to get it off my chest.
Go on.
Yeah, like me being like, she just mentioned these things, and I get like, I think it's a bit of an illness. I get these thoughts and these pulses that run through my head, and I need to get them out. I mean, people that know me, like my clients that sit down, they do go, "God, man, you got to really imagine. Your imagination is really animated," and I do. I must admit, I've got a very animated imagination. So me, myself, now being the only male in the household, remember I've got 4 women, even the animals. We've got 2 dogs, a cat, goldfish. I think they're all female. So all you men out there will understand the monthly period.
Dad's favourite time of the month.
It's hell. Absolutely hell. I can't deal with it. I can't work it. It's took me over 20 years to figure it out. What's the word called? Not PMT.
PMT.
Is it PMT?
Yeah.
Was it called post, premenstrual, premenstrual meditation, treatment?
It's something like that, Dad.
Therapy.
No.
I need therapy after it. I mean, like, my household, PMT, it runs rife. It's so bad sometimes that you do not get one bit of peace. And then the moment you get peace, I believe I'm the first ever man to suffer from PMT.
I was going to say,
do it
you have to
get back on these people that have destroyed me for quite a while. And it don't matter what you say, what you do, how you do it.
It's wrong.
It's always wrong, and it's just like...
And I think the downside of having 4 females is, I think it's better when we're all on our cycle at the same time.
Oh my God.
Or it may be worse because then we're battling each other. But if we're on at different times, then poor Dad, he ain't got a quiet month.
If we have sort of like a date we've got to go on, say there's like a birthday or a holiday or something that needs to be done, we don't fit it around everyone else. We fit it around PMT time. So like, no, we can't do that week. She's on. We can't do that week. She's on. Can't do that week. She's on. And trust me, if you do any of these things with someone on, it's not
even just on though, because there's many a times that will come in or whatever, we'll be talking, he's like, "Are you all right?" And it will be, "I'm due on." And if it's not "I'm due on," it's "I'm on."
It's
and
always
if it's not
something.
"I'm on," it's "I've just finished."
Yeah, it's just like, what is going on for all you guys out there? Yeah, that feel like there's something wrong with your wife. There is nothing wrong with their wives or your partners. It's just a monthly thing that you need to get used to, understand it, get the drift.
Because it ain't going nowhere.
It ain't going anywhere. It's stuck there, right? So understand it. It's good to talk about it, all right?
It is indeed.
That's family for you, innit? See, that's what we put up with. Was that all right, me saying that?
It has to be, doesn't it? Yeah.
I love having my PMT because I can get away with murder, and that's how they feel.
Yeah.
That's how they feel. But back to family, I
was going to say, let's get back to it.
Okay, what's the definition of family then, girl? Hit me. You always have a definition. I know you do. You always pick it up.
We do. I had a little look, and what I found is there's 2 different definitions.
Okay.
So the first one is a parent or parents, so plural or singular, and their children living together as a unit.
Okay,
so
sounds about
pretty
right.
Simple, yeah. And the second definition is descendants of a common ancestor. So if you could imagine a great-grandmother and all of her children, then the children's children. The business was owned by the so-and-so family for years, passed through the generations.
See, that one, it could be a bit contradictory. I'll tell you why. Because do you have to be blood related?
That's why I was just going to say, when I was reading it, I did think to myself, I feel like there should be more than one of these definitions. I don't feel like these 2 definitions are completely realistic.
Yeah, that must be a dated back in the day quote. Obviously today people foster, they adopt, they, I don't know. You know what I mean. They're not always blood related.
No.
So yeah. Anyway, what does family mean to you, girl?
Well, in a nutshell, my family mean the world to me. I love them wholeheartedly. And when I think of that, family, the word family, and like what it means to me, just two words come to mind. So the first one is unconditional love. So love with no conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is acceptance.
Okay.
So they're the two words that I associate with family, to me personally.
Okay. Why acceptance?
I would say acceptance because I feel like your family get to...
Okay, can I just stop you there? Acceptance is a very powerful word. And I think a lot of people out there don't really realise the word acceptance. So for you to bring it up to describe your family, that's a strange one.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember, this is my opinion on my family.
Okay.
I'm not saying all individuals have the same feelings that I do.
Yeah.
Because I'm not naive to know that everyone has different family functions, right?
Yeah.
But as far as me and my family, I feel like my family get to witness me in my lows. They get to experience me. They know me completely. They know all the things about me that I may preserve and keep away from your everyday person. You know, all the things that you might not like about yourself, or your flaws and your imperfections. However, you guys still love me. You're still there for me. Like, obviously, we'll talk about boundaries like in a minute, but I feel like I could come to you guys about pretty much anything. And you'd be honest with me. If I was wrong, you'd tell me I was wrong. But you would still not turn your back on me. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. You are right.
That's the level of love you guys show me. You show me you accept me for who I am. The good, the bad, the ugly, the sad, the happy.
I mean, I'm thinking about what you're saying. I'm just thinking, is that the same sort of thing, same sort of relationship I had with my parents? And like, I don't know if it's a difference because I'm a man.
Oh, I know that. I know there will be many people that would probably argue against what I'm saying. I know there's many people out there that would be like, hasn't really been like that for me, and that's
no. I feel like that with me.
Yeah.
As much as there was love in the family and all this providing and food on the table and this, that, and respect and whatever. You mentioned something there where you're very open and you could talk about anything and no one would turn your back. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to, as much as they're going to understand what you say, I think a lot of men will understand what I will say. And I think as being a boy, a man, a male, you don't want to bring burden to your family. You don't want to give them extra headache. You want to show that you're in control. So when you had an issue, you wouldn't really go up to, if you had an issue like your car broke down or, the alternator went or the washing machine gone, you know what I mean, Mum, you got, where there's an engineer or a mechanic or whatever, example.
But if something bothered
if something
you deep
was
down.
big deep down, I would hold back as long as I can. As long as I can, because one, I didn't want to worry him, and two, I didn't want to show that I was not in control.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it hadn't always been like that for me though, because when I was younger, there was a lot. I think I'd consider myself quite secretive as a teenager. I didn't want to tell Mum. I say Mum mainly because she's a woman, and if I was going to speak to anyone about anything like the particulars, it would be Mum. And I would reserve so much information from Mum because I still do believe that you don't have to tell your parents every single nitty gritty detail that goes on, right?
Yeah, no.
But
I think in time you do end up telling them.
In time, yes, because I was going to say how I am now today, like you saying you didn't want to, become a burden. I do understand that element too, because, the moment you say something, you've then made it a bigger deal.
You've now
started something, and you can't, oh, it's all right, don't worry though, because you've planted that seed in their head.
Yeah.
So I get that. But I just find, and I learnt long term, that keeping things in doesn't help you.
No.
It just makes things heavier, harder. It makes it worse. Now, obviously, if you don't have that system around you where you feel like you can go to them, then it can be difficult to do that.
I think that depends on your parents.
I was going to say,
if
sometimes it's in your head.
If they are approachable.
Yes.
I think there's a time and a place that you approach your family and pull them aside and say, look, this is the situation. This is what's been going on. And I do believe it's about characters, depict the characters in your family.
Yeah, because I can imagine some parents are just not approachable.
No. There's situations and dilemmas in their lives that they can't approach people. So, and this is exactly where I'm explaining to you
that's how you felt about your parents.
I can't go to and say, oh, this is the situation that I feel like or whatever. I mean, it must be very hard for some people out there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did that change for you as you got older, though?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, as I've become older, especially when I had children, I became more transparent.
Yeah.
And the thing was, I think what actually happened was my parents actually
looked at you a bit differently.
Yeah, I think they looked at me going, "Oh, he's a parent. He's got responsibility. He's got worry now. He's got, he's got." He's got a road to climb there, so let's try and throw. And the funny thing is, and this is the crazy thing that I explain, as much as I held back these things as a child, like whatever it may be, my mum and dad all brought them back up anyway later on in life. Like I was like, "You joking? What you bloody knew, did you? How did you know this?" And do you know what I mean?
It's crazy how your parents know,
but and it's weird how. This is why it's important that transparency in a family is so key.
Yeah.
The right time, the right place, the way it's said, how it's said, where it's said. Mouths and ears must connect in the right frequency for this.
Yeah.
How can I say this? You know what I mean? This issue to be not even an issue, but just just general conversation without it being taken out of text or out of line.
Equal part voice, equal part ears.
I think that's respect a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of respect. I mean, but just like you sitting here with me now in this podcast, I mean, like you're 27 years old. I mean, could we have done this 10 years ago?
I don't know.
Was you in a mental? Was you in your mental state to do it? Was I in my mentality state? Did I have time to do this? So this is why I believe time is so important. It's like to fit it in is you have to make time. And I think you have to put energy and time into your family.
You do indeed.
So yeah.
Yep, I hear you. All right. So thinking back, I'll ask you this. What's 3 words to describe your family as a child?
Oh, here we go. You're going to scare me now.
Compared to your family now. So by that, I mean your family when it was you as the child with your parents compared to now you being the parent and us, your children.
As a child growing up, I felt my family as a whole.
Yeah.
And I don't mean a whole, just me, my mum, my dad, my brothers and my sisters. I feel like my family as a whole was unique.
Unique.
Yeah. Yeah, unique. And it's really
hard. Right bunch. A right bunch.
They are a right bunch, but they are a right
wimpy
bunch.
Table in the living room.
Yeah, mate, it is like we were a right bunch of characters, but we had uniqueness.
Yeah.
Yeah? We had clarity. We had unity. We had togetherness. We had family.
Yeah.
We had colour.
Yeah.
Yeah? Fragrance. So when you talk about words, 3 words is not enough. I look at my uncles and I see them as like superheroes. Do you get what I mean? Like you used that word before. And I see them as like superheroes. I see them as fixers. I look at them and I think like, these were people that I looked up as children, you know, and I was like, wow.
They inspired
you. I'd look at them and my cousins would do that. In their own right, they would look at them because that's what I saw. But when you say my immediate family now, is that right? My immediate family, I can explain it like glass. Clear, clean, sharp. You understand what I mean? Mine, my creation, and I must protect them. You understand what I mean?
Because we can shatter.
Yeah?
Because we can shatter.
Yeah, shatter. You always have to ruin it. Are you chew on?
Well, no. When you just said to me, I'm not. No. When you just said to me glass, yeah, I'm thinking, is this a good analogy,
Look,
Dad? Glass, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you bang it on the wall, crack.
No. So you've got it wrong.
Right. You mean
They're
in
like
terms
glass,
of protecting us?
Yes.
Okay.
They're fragile, but they need protecting. You understand?
Okay.
And your mind to protect. Your mum, your sisters, your mind to protect. All right? And it doesn't matter what'll happen. You're there for me to protect. Okay? Did that make sense?
Yes, it did.
Right, so are you going to be able to outclass my words, what I just said about thumb? Yeah?
Yeah.
Go on then, hit me.
Am I just talking? Well, obviously.
Give me 3 words
to describe my
that can
family.
describe your family. And all you guys out there that are watching this, give yourselves 3 words to describe your family. It's important. It's important. Ask your child, describe your family. See what they say. Be transparent.
I'm trying to think now. I would say I would have said unique. So you low-key stole my one. But it's done, isn't it? Invaluable. There is no price you could put on my family.
Priceless. Yeah.
Priceless. Yeah. Hysterical.
Hysterical or
no,
hysterical?
No. Hysterical.
Hysterical.
Yes.
What, like your family's a joke?
No, we are not a joke to be laughed at, but we laugh
a lot. Okay.
Yeah, like we are very
humorous.
Funny. Yes, we're a funny family.
Okay.
And I would say strong.
Yeah.
I think we're all strong individually, and then together we are even stronger.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I think you outdone me with the vocabulary, but
that's right, my girl.
I'll let you get away with that one.
So go on, anything else you want to hit me with, girl?
Dun dun dun. What would you say is your earliest childhood memory? If we're going to speak a little bit about your family when you were a child.
My earliest child memory, I know what it is. It's nothing exciting, but it was the first time I can actually say that I can remember seeing, hearing. And I remember actually I was in the cot and I was holding on to this cot. And I remember the wallpaper and it had this like, I don't know, it's these weird shaped wallpaper patterns. And it was a dark burgundy. And there was a window there. And I could hear the sound of like knife and forks downstairs and like talking and chattering, and I'm like, what? Because
for those of you that don't know, Dad lived on top of a calf.
I was getting to that.
Well, I got there first.
All right, so if you guys actually watch the first documentary, Bermondsey, you're going to see that I point at. We talk about a property that my dad had was a calf, and then there was a floor on top of that property, and there used to be a window. So if you actually look at the cafe from the front, you could see the really little ledge, which was the window. And that was the window and the room that I can have my first ever memory. And I remember saying to my mum, like, Mum, Dad, I was in this cot and this, that and the other. I remember the cot in this position. She went, yeah, I remember that. I said, how old was I? She said, you was about 1.5, 2 years old then. How do you remember that? I was like, I don't know. I remember it. I told you about the wallpaper. So that was my earliest ever memory. From that moment on, I can remember my life. From that moment on, I just all my
just remember it all, really.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't remember the birth.
No, I don't think many people do, Dad.
Yeah. How about yours? What's your first ever memory?
First ever memory, I think I may have been about 3.
Okay.
I think it was Botwell Lane, so that was the first place I ever lived. I remember through my eyes looking down a staircase, the stairs in my house.
Okay.
And I think my buggy must have fallen. I wasn't in it, don't worry.
Yeah.
It may have fallen down the stairs and smashed into the front door.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
It did,
so I can remember
It
that.
fell down, it slipped down, it
Yeah.
fell down one flight, hit the bottom of the stairs, and the top of the buggy went through the bloody window.
And then from that moment on, I just remember segments, like from each year, if you get what I mean. I don't know if that's a reliance on photos that have jogged memories. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like I could tell you a memory from each age up until the age I am now.
Okay.
Although there is a very big period of time that I can't remember much, but we'll get to that.
I think there's a long part I don't remember, but
There's a really big gap between certain ages that I don't remember much, but we'll get there.
Okay, let's get this podcast a bit serious, yeah?
Okay.
We'll sort of like step it up a little bit. We've been a bit soft and a bit quiet about family. So, let's talk about my age,
Yep.
being a young parent.
Yeah, because you were really young, weren't you?
Yeah. And the reason why I said that is because there's many people out there that I feel like have had their children and they've had their children young. Me and your mum, we were only 18 and 19 when we had you.
No, 1920.
1920. Yeah, 1920. But 18 when you was pregnant at 8.
You were 19, Mum was 18.
Yeah. Okay, but we're still young, you know. So having the kid at that age was very, very daunting because us ourselves, we weren't adults ourselves, so we were still learning. We're still learning how to become an adult, you know.
Of course.
So no, we're talking about families, and the reason why I mentioned about us being young because I can only talk about my own experience, and I can, you know, try and relate it to other people. So me and your mum having kids young, you know, it was very, very hard. And I tried to think of today people having their children very, very young. And talking about family, I mean, me and your mum were together. And we struggled to bring you up.
Yeah.
You know, we really did struggle. I mean, money was just like no money at all. And then when I see people today bringing up their kids, like looking at the cost of living, the way things are and how much everything is, and looking at the rents and looking at how much it is to run a car, and, you know, and I know it sounds really silly, like go on holiday. People might go, well, if you ain't got no money, you shouldn't be going on holiday. But I think, listen, having a kid, you know, I think sometimes you need to have a change of, you know, and just look at the price. I just don't know how
people are
doing it. I really don't know, without the help of parents. And do you understand what I mean? It is I struggle. I struggle to understand it.
I do hear you. Yeah. I mean, I do look at a lot of people, I say my age bracket, and some of my friends now, they've got more than one child.
Yeah.
And I don't know the ins and outs of their lives, but it does cross your mind when they're younger, like we're talking 18, 19.
I think we had 2 kids by your age.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
We had 2 kids.
Yeah, it does cross my mind, like, financially, you're managing to look after children as well as yourself, as well as your home, as well as, you know, everything in between. Like, it must be hard.
I think it's hard financially, very, very hard, and as well as psychologically.
Of course.
You know, psychologically.
Because if I think back to, like, being 18, 19, I only really grasped how young you and Mum were, like, mentality-wise.
We were young.
Yeah, until I'm, like, this age now, and I'm like, well, you had 2 kids by my age now.
We just found our lives. Do you want the honest truth?
You hadn't even started.
No. So you got to remember that, you know, we've just come out of, school, we've just found our lives. I just started seeing girls. I just started to have freedom. I just started, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, I met your mum, an amazing, beautiful woman.
Yeah.
I was shocked that she actually fancied me. I thought she wasn't well.
You'll read all about it in our novel as well.
Yeah, so it was a shock. So I was like, this is a keeper. And, a year after I met her, she told me she was pregnant. I mean, that was another story. I mean,
yeah.
That was...
Make or break situation.
It was. I mean,
yeah.
She rung me. She rung me. I was playing PlayStation. No, I wasn't. I was playing Sega. If you guys remember, I was playing a Sega. It was like a black thing with my cousin. And we was just playing it we was playing Street Fighter. That was it. And we was playing it on it's a shitty old graphics on a computer in my front room. The telephone rings. I pick it up and I give it all the large, like, my girl, how are you, babe? You alright? And she just drops the bombshell on me. And she was like, are you sitting down? And I was like, yeah, ish. And she just told me, like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, what? You got to remember, I was 19, 20 years old. I don't think I was 20. She was 19 when she was pregnant. And I was like, oh no, you're joking, in my head. But I couldn't tell her. And she was like, look, I understand if you don't want it, but I'm keeping it. And I froze inside. And I can remember I put the phone down. I couldn't believe what I just heard. I went and sat down next to my cousin. And my cousin looks at me and he goes, are you alright, Mem? I was like, not really. He went, you look white. And I was like, yeah, pass me the control. And he passed me the control. And I was just grasping like what your mum had just told me. Now, I remember that time very, very vivid, because that moment that they told your mum told me that, my life changed forever. At that moment, I ended up with a responsibility that I still have today, that's sitting beside me today. And I'm very, very proud of it. You understand? And I can remember my cousin saying to me, what happened? I said, oh, it was my girlfriend. Giving it all the light. I got a bird, I got a bird. It's my bird.
It's my wifey.
It's my bird, you know what I mean? He's there with no bird. I've got a bird. You don't have a bird. I've got a bird. He went, yeah, what did you say? I was like, she's pregnant. And I was like, now I've got a bird and a kid.
Gosh.
And it was an eye opener. And I can remember that moment, mate. My whole life changed, and I could see how a lot of people out there fall into that. I want to say fall, but end up having children young, and it takes a lot of their youthism away, because being a parent, I'm going to tell you now, it's the hardest thing on earth. There's no job harder than being a parent. No job. So when we talk about family, for a mother to do what she does,
it's incredible.
Mate.
Yeah.
Mate, I think men and women are two completely different species. I think men to think that they would have children. I mean, I hate to say the word, but pop a baby out of his arse. A man to do that, he would give up. There would be no future generation. Do you understand? It would stop from now. Here.
Yeah, this is it.
So for a woman to have that thing to go, yeah, I'm going to have another child. I'm like, are you not well?
Parenting isn't something you're taught, is it?
Nah.
I mean, you can be shown little tips and tricks, and you got people on the internet these days to like kind of guide you along, but the real depths of parenting,
it's from your parents. So
yeah, like
you need help, you need guidance. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Ria, that I know I'm talking a little bit here, but it's important that I say these things because I've experienced the parenting.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So, for me, deep down, I would not, or we would not, of me and your mum, got as far as we did without your nan and your granddad. Your nan and your granddad gave us emotional security. They gave us a little bit of. They taught us. Your nan and your granddad on my side, they did have nothing to do with it.
No.
Do you know what they said to me? If you're having a kid, you look after it. But my mum and my dad financially looked after us here and there. When we was in the shit, they helped us out, and they knew it, and they couldn't pull back from that. So they both had their own.
They both helped in their
inputs
own way.
into it. It was very important. We needed that support,
Yeah, I do think that's the scary part about parenting. I think nothing can prepare you for it.
Yeah.
Like before you know it, you're a parent. You haven't been given an instruction book with the do's and don'ts. Well, I mean, you kind of have, but you haven't at the same time. And you just got to hope for the best, really. But I think it's something that, you know, we're all human beings. I do believe that one of our purposes of being here is to reproduce.
Yeah.
You know, make your family.
One of your purposes.
One of your purposes. Yeah.
It's your only purpose. Everything else is just...
I think that's subjective.
No, it is. Trust me.
I think that's subjective.
Look, right, you tell me now, yeah? So, look, you tell me what lion turns around and says to the lioness says to the lion, you know what, we're not having kids. You tell me what bird says to another bird, we're not having kids.
Yes, I hear you, but a bird and a lion don't have the brains and the capabilities that we have.
We are a species that we reproduce, yeah?
Yeah.
Certain people won't reproduce because of certain reasons. They might not be able to have children or
Some
whatever.
people simply don't want to.
Right, and there's other ones that simply don't want to because they've been caught up in life, yeah? And they go, like, I don't want to have children, I'm not maternal. I understand that. But the reality of a human species is to reproduce.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it.
I hear you.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do believe it is something that is one of our purposes.
It's the main purpose.
Okay.
It is, I'm telling you.
Okay.
All right? Because at the end of the day, yeah, you can end up with wealth and you can have all this and you can have all that.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say wealth is one of the purposes up there. I'm just saying, like...
Cars.
No, I'm not talking about material.
Money.
I'm not talking about material.
Holidays.
I'm not talking about materialistic things.
Okay.
I mean, like, you know, your personal fulfillment as an individual.
Yeah, like what? Tell me.
We'll save it for another podcast.
Okay. No, I was just going to say
Alright.
to you. Alright. Okay. The right age to start a family then?
Well, I think everyone will have a different opinion on this. In terms of age, it's a tricky one, really. I feel like the moment you found somebody that you love, and the moment that you are financially able to provide for your family, or at least combined with that person that you love, I think any time from that moment onward. But you get people that are more career driven, people that want to travel beforehand, people that, you know, everyone will give you their own idea of when's the right time to have a child. So I think that is, again, subjective depending on what you value most. But me personally, I think it's important that you yourself have done enough growing mentally before you have a child. Because like you just said, you can't have a baby and give it back. You know, this is something now that you've got for life. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's a very important... But I am a believer too that if you wait for a right time, there possibly may not be a right time. Do you know what I mean? Like constantly trying to find the perfect time. You know, I can't do that because I've got to wait for this, and I can't do this because I don't have this. I mean, like you keep waiting for the right time, and that time is just going to pass you by. So sometimes I think you need to be thrown in that deep end to make it into what it needs to be. Do you get what I mean?
I think, like, example, what you're saying is true. I think if you plan your children, example, you know, you've planned it, we're going to have a kid because, you know, we got home. We've climbed the ladder with our careers. We've got a bit of money. We
seems appropriate.
We settled. It's time to fit a baby in or whatever. I totally get it. I understand. Like us now, me and your mum, you know, we had a kid when we was 19, 20. We had a kid when we was 25, 26. And then we had another kid when we was 34, I believe.
35, yeah.
Is it 35? 35. Now, I can tell you now, having the 35-year-old one, having one at 35.
Having a 35-year-old.
Having the one at 35 years old is extremely, like, phenomenal. You know what I mean? And I really enjoyed it. You know, we had a home. No, we didn't actually have our home, but we was on the verge of getting our home.
Yeah.
But you got to remember that time as well. It wasn't easy for me even though it was beautiful having a kid. My surroundings had changed very rapidly. I just opened up a business. Your granddad was diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
You know, I was just on the verge of the business taking off.
There was a lot going on.
There was a lot going on, but Kyra kept me going. I really learned to appreciate how beautiful it is to have a family.
Do you believe in that saying?
What's that?
You know, there's that saying I've heard, and I've noticed it a few times. When one person dies, someone is born.
Yeah. Do I believe in it?
I mean, in like terms of like, obviously, I know for every person that passes away, there's someone that's born. It happens every second.
Yeah.
But I mean, within families.
Yeah. I mean,
because it did seem as when Dede passed away, or as Kyra was born, Dede passed away.
Yeah.
And it's happened in a few other cases in our family too.
Yeah. I mean, in my eyes, I felt like your sister has lived on. My dad.
She looks like him a bit as well.
Yeah, he's got his attitude, that's for sure. Bit lippy, bit loud, you know. But yeah, talking about parents, I mean, how about single parents, Ree? I mean, single parents that are...
I mean, we've just spoken about how difficult parenting can be, right?
We break it down, like parenting. Like, I'll give you an example. A kid that needs changing nappy. Yeah. Yeah. A kid that cries. A kid that needs feeding. A kid that needs constant attention.
A kid that's teething.
That's ill. Got a cold, sneezing, coughing. The constant changing. It's just like once that baby is born, you've just got this thing where you cannot put it down.
It needs you,
and it is such a responsibility, and you are its provider, you're its teacher, and that child is constantly learning only from you, until it starts going nursery or whatever. But that's it's not straight away. And the strain it has on you psychologically, mentally, physically, mate.
It's
I mean, the thought of you having a kid, I'm gonna pity you. I'm gonna feel sorry for you for the first couple of years.
I think I feel sorry for myself.
No, I'm gonna be like, God, mate, and I'm gonna hand the baby back to you. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give it back to you and say, yeah, go look after the baby. You understand what I mean? Because I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So single parents, Ree. I mean, I gotta give it to them. Do you know what I mean? What do you think?
I think it's incredible when, like, obviously, it's not the best circumstances. I think ideally, for every child, having two parents, what I mean. But real life stuff, single parents, it's very common. It's very common. And that's both mothers and fathers, because I've noticed it's quite common more with mothers, yes. But there is your fair share of single fathers as well, I've noticed. And I think for there to be one parent looking after a child or multiple children, I have to take my hat off for you, really, because if I can sit here as someone who's not a parent and be like, I think I would, I'll struggle. I found it hard. Like, me having a family already, like, I know will help me, and, a partner. To be by yourself and raise a child or children, you're an amazing person.
Imagine you're a single parent and you don't have no family to help you.
Exactly.
Imagine. And imagine you're a single parent that has no family and have got multiple children.
Yep.
What strain. I mean, talking about all the things that we just spoke about, like the cost of living and homes and this.
I think that's why they say being a parent is a full-time job.
It is a full-time job.
Yeah.
It's always been a full-time job.
Yeah, like, especially, like, even more so as a single parent. Like,
This is why when you just said to me just now earlier about describe 3 words about your family growing up and your family now. The thing was with the family when we was kids, my auntie looked after me for a while.
Yeah.
My auntie looked after my sister. You know, everyone would share children. Everyone would look after everyone. Everyone had each other's back. Everyone would live in the same home to make sure everyone gave each other that
a little break or a little support. Yeah.
That whole thing of not being on your own. Do you understand what I mean? And this is where I feel like family is so important. And I feel like, you know, the generation, the you know, back then and now, parenting is changing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
It's changing. I mean, I see it day in, day out, morning, noon and night.
Well, fact is, it has changed a lot.
Has changed.
Yeah, it has changed a lot.
I fear the future.
I was going to say, I dread to imagine how much more it's going to change. Because, again, it's something that's evolving as the years go on.
The whole thing of stimulation on children is beyond belief. I mean, like now, when I see what's going on, technology has really...
Kids love an iPad. They love an iPad.
So look, this is where, like, for example, now we spoke about how a parent will struggle to bring up a kid to make sure the attention is on them and this, that and the other. It's very easy to throw an iPad in front of them or an iPhone or whatever and say, yeah, keep yourself entertained for a couple of hours, and that parent to have a break.
Yeah.
To have that break, just to go, oh my God, I haven't disturbed anyone. I haven't given it to my mum. I haven't asked someone to do me a favour. I haven't done this. Take this bloody iPhone
and just sit there and leave me alone. In the nicest way possible.
You know what it is? And it is. And this is what happens. But the problem we have there is that the child itself is consistently 24 hours a day, as long as he's got his eyes open, is being consistently stimulated, which is really, really bad. Because I believe children themselves should have their own time where they just muck about. How many times are you in the garden mucking about?
Yeah. Huh? I was going to say, compared to my youngest sister, my ideas of like stimulation as a child were completely different. Yeah. Like I was fine sitting there with a pen and paper, writing stories, drawing. I looked at like at Nan's, she's got like a collection of my old writing, and there's dates on them. And I was like, oh my God, I was like 8. Yeah. I was like 9. I was quite impressed at what I was writing, actually. But I mean...
But that's all you had.
Yeah, it was. That's why. I remember rewriting The Wizard of Oz. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And when I look at, like, Kyra, for example, she is very creative, bless her heart. Like, she's equally as much off of her iPad and her phone as she is on it. But does she love her phone?
Yeah.
She loves her phone.
I used to be up there. This is how it used to be. I used to go up to a window and I used to blow on it like this, like,
and draw with
and I used to draw on it, and I used to be like, I'm an artist. I'm an artist. You know, that's how bad I used to make pictures out of dust. Do you get what I mean? It was so weird, like, but this is what we did as kids. I mean, like today, I feel like parents are scared to tell their children off because they feel like their children won't like them.
Yep, I hear you.
You understand? Yeah. I feel like children today, parents today are scared
because
they
feel like
they're going to be psychologically
influence.
Disturbed.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to be to blame. And I'm like, at the end of the day, there needs to be, like, I don't believe in hitting children.
But a level of discipline.
There has to be a level of discipline. It has changed. Look, at the end of the day, we can all sit here and talk about parenting and stuff like that. But everyone will bring up their own children in their own way. You know what I mean? What
do you think defines a good parent?
I think what defines a good parent is exactly like that word. You have to commit yourself to parenting. You have to submission? Submit. Yeah. Yeah. What's it called?
Submit yourself.
You have to submit yourself to a child. You know, so when you decide that time, when you say, you know what, we're planning for a kid and we're having a kid, you got to say, I'm submitting myself to this child. just like a religion. This is my belief. This is my thing. And obviously, there's going to be times when you psychologically and physically, and you can't deal with it. And that's why when you say to me, what can create a good family, or what is it? It's support. It's unity. And that's what we had as kids. We had that.
Yeah.
And that's what you had as a kid, because you had that around you. You understand? And this is what I try to say about people like who have got families. You cannot disperse yourself from your family. You have to be united. You know, you can't fall out because he paid for McDonald's or he looked at him wrong. Or, you know, I find families today fall out for the most silliest reasons.
They
you know?
do, yeah.
I mean, this is so wrong. They fall out over their wives. They fall out over their friends. They fall out over money. They fall out over because one's richer than the other. They fall out because one is gay, one is straight. They fall out because of the most stupidest bloody things.
And they don't talk to each other.
And it's like, example, one of their parents will pass away, and then one's on one side of the grave and the other one's on the other side of the grave, and they start arguing over inheritance, and I deserve it. And it's like, oh, what are you all talking about?
Yeah.
And what did you really go back to the stem of the issue? Why did you fall out? And they go, well, it all started on the Thursday night. He spilled beer over me, and it all started from there. Or he's too loud, or he's too submissive, or he's too rude, or he swears a lot, or whatever. He's your brother. He's your sister. You know what I mean? We're not all the same. You're not the same as your sisters.
No.
All right?
Yeah.
And you never will be. So never try and make your sister the same as you. Respect them and love them for who they are.
Exactly.
But not for who you want them to be. All right? And then you'll never have an issue.
I agree.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so I believe when you say to me what is the fundamental key things to a family, is to make sure you understand your siblings' personality and know when to shush, know when to understand it, respect it, and pull away from it. All right?
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think parenting in London is different to other places in the world?
I think parenting in London is different because, one, like I said earlier, the cost of living, people have to be working all the time. Now it's very common for two parents to be working. Women are very career minded, you know, and men don't want to stop them for chasing their careers. Parents bring their children up like you. Now I'm saying, chase your career, don't allow a man to get in front of you and destroy you, and so this lives on. So there's, you know, it has a great thing and it has a shitty thing to it as well, because you know, if I put into you that, oh, chase your career, well, how are you going to create a family?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And then when you do create a family, you're going to have sort of like resent for your child because you're like, you're holding me back from going to where I want to be. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's loads of little issues that, you know, that's why balance is so important.
I also think when you think of like London, some would consider it an unsafe place to live.
Yeah.
So, in terms of like I can remember when we were doing the Bermondsey documentary, you touched on being younger and just being free, like in Bermondsey. I'm not saying parents don't let their children out, because I see many young children out with their friends and whatnot. But if I was a parent, especially living in the area we live in, I feel like living in London, I definitely structure my parenting differently, especially if I had a son. Do you get what I mean by that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, like just because, like, I don't know, if we lived like in, I don't know, say we lived in Northern Cyprus, yeah, in the village.
Yeah, you just...
Oh, yeah, I'd let my kids run wild, you know what I mean? But living in London, even if they were a girl, you'd be like, where are you going? What are you doing? Like, you know,
But you're going to have to let them go.
Yeah, I know.
You can't hold them back because then you make them scared. You're putting your
keep them
fear
sheltered.
in them.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I'll explain. Like, you know, in a family with you know, positioning in the family. Example, mum. dad, children, or grandchildren, grandparents. You know, there is a positioning in that all has to be respected. So if you have a grandparent or a parent that shows nothing but fear, the fear ends up in the child, and the child ends up showing it on the street. So if I give you fear and I fear you, you're like, you say something wrong, you're gonna get it. You do this, you're gonna get it. What happens is when people talk to you, you're gonna say the same thing to them.
Yeah.
All right. So, so when we talk about the street, you got to let them learn, and sometimes kids learn the wrong way, and we just got to hope that your children have common sense and they know what is right from wrong, and that's the best thing you can teach your children. It's common sense. The rest of it, do you want the truth? It's down to them.
Yeah. I hear you.
It's down to them. One more last thing about London that I was going to explain. You said about family. Now, London, to me, how I see it, it's a passing. People pass through London. People don't really settle in London. They come in, they chase their career, they get their flat, they buy their house, and then they have 3 children, and then they move out. And a lot of people think, no, they don't. They do. They can't afford to buy a 3-4 bedroom house in London.
No, so they
and then they move out. So what it is, now London has become a moving, they move through London. It's a foundation. They get their career and they see the excitement. They see, you know, the London life, the lights and everything. And there's something, it's like it's like something that everyone has to do. They've got to come to London. The thing that I was going to say as well was, when people come to London, they normally leave where they come from. So they come from like Edinburgh, Bristol, here, there. They come to London and they've left their family. They've met someone, they have a child, and there's no support system because they foundated their lives in London. Their career is here, their house is here. They're away from all their family, and they always end up, like what I said, stuck in this situation, bringing up these children, and they're like, we live near Green. We got a green area. What green are you? Oh, we live near Blackheath Park. I was like, well, can you leave your kids out to play in Blackheath Park? No. Well, you don't really have green. You understand what I mean? What you can do is walk through there with your child.
Yeah.
You know, so what it is, they're all stuck and they become very, it's compressed. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
So London itself for children and families is very, very, very hard.
Yeah.
You know, and people, look where we live now. We live out in the suburbs. You know, we live out on the borders of southeast London now, you know, but before we was in the heart of it, you know?
Yeah.
So we move out.
It happens. It's quite common, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
All right, so taking it back to you now personally, if you could go back in time, as you've already explained, you've had 3 children, all at different times of your life. If you could go back to the very start and do things differently, would you? And if so, what would they be?
As a parent?
As a parent. And as a child. So,
as a child?
As a child to your parents.
What would I do differently?
Yeah.
I don't think I could have done anything differently as a child. I don't think. The reason why is because we respected our mum and dad. We saw how much hard work they did and we tried to help them. You know, we done our chores, we done our little bits, you know, we saw them doing what they did. Could we have changed any more? Yeah, I wish I never worried as much as I did. I believe I was a deep thinker that left me to worry a lot. I was a worrying child.
About your parents?
Just worrying about everything. I was always a worrier. I was worrying about this, worrying about that, always a deep worrier. It gave me anxieties. I had like bits and pieces that would, I had physical bits wrong with me, that they were like, I can explain, they were like the byproduct of my nerves. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like I had swallowing issues, I had sleep issues, I had wee issues, I had all these issues that I had psychologically. I think it was a mental thing that I had, and it was to a really late age. And I think it was because I used to worry so much. Why I worried, I will talk in another podcast. Why I worried, and it had symptoms. That's the word. I had side effects. As a parent, would I do anything different? Yeah, I do quite a lot different. I wish I never took fucking drugs. I wish I never lost so much time. I wish I spent more time with you. I feel like I'm trying to make up for it now in the last 10, 15 years, ever since I stopped taking drugs. I don't drink. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. I try to keep as pure as possible. I mean, my diet is shit or whatever, but getting into like me as a parent,
loves a cake and custard.
Oh, I love a cake and custard. That will crumble. Oh, but yeah, do I have regrets? Yeah, of course I have regrets. You know, I think all parents will have regrets. You know, they will look at the way they brought their kids up, and I think what happens is this mirrors into them to becoming a grandparent. Yeah. And I think when they become a grandparent, which I'm not yet, but I can see if I have a grandchild, how I would do things differently. If you listen, it's down to you. If you don't, it's down to you to learn and become a grandparent and teach your your child how to become a parent. So it seems to be that sort of situation.
I hear you.
Does that sound okay?
Mm-hmm,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
Did you enjoy that bit? Yeah. You see, I'm pretty smart. So see.
Yeah, I like it when Dad gets deep.
Yeah, it's true though, because you can't lie.
I also like it when I hear him say things I've never heard him say before.
Example?
Well, you do repeat yourself a lot. So a lot of the things I hear you say, you've said before. But every now and then you will say something that I haven't heard before. I think that's what I like about doing these podcasts. We get to discover different things.
Well, there's a lot you're going to discover about me if you ask me the right question. There's one thing about me. I do not tell you lies, but I do not tell you all.
Fair
and
enough.
It's not because I don't want to tell you all. It's because you don't ask me the questions. Okay? So in life, when you get older, you learn sometimes not to talk too much is better.
Yep, I completely get you.
Yeah?
Yeah, 100.
Okay.
100.
Anything else?
Well, you got anything to ask me? I've asked you the past few questions.
Do you know what it was? Because we're talking about parenting. So when we're talking about parenting, you sort of like points at me. I mean, how do you think you're gonna be as a parent? Because I used to, you know why? I'll be honest with you, and I'm chatting.
Yeah.
I had this most amazing imagination before I had children. I had this thing where I think a lot of people will say it. I want my children to go to private school. I'm gonna do this. I'm going to be like that. My children are going to wear this. My wife is going to be that. My wife is going to be like this. We're going to have Range Rovers. We're going to have this. We're going to do this.
Horses in the garden.
We're going to have we're not even going to have a 3-bedroom house. We're going to have a 3-bedroom shed with a 15-bedroom house with two. All these imaginations used to go through my head. Then I used to think to myself, I'm going to have it. And in my head, I'm going to have it. And then when reality kicks in.
Yeah.
And then you sort of like let yourself down a little bit, you know. You think, God, blimey, you know. As a parent.
As a parent.
So how do you feel like you're gonna be as a parent?
There are things that scare me about becoming a parent. So it worries me the whole like, oh my God, like, is this the right decision? Do you know what I mean? Like we've already said, once you have them, you can't give them back.
Yeah, but you did say as well, is that if you don't have them, when are you going to have them?
Yeah, so I do believe that too. I do worry about, like, for example, I think the bad thing about the internet, as I've stated many a good things, sometimes you are exposed to too much information that if you are a little bit of a worrier, like I am, you can start, doing circles with it. So, like, a lot of people, women specifically, have, like, mentioned how their mental health can decline after having children. Mm-hmm. That kind of worries me a bit. But if I was guaranteed that everything would be okay, I think I'll be a great mum. I do. I think I'm a very loving person.
I think you're going to be a fantastic mum.
Yeah.
All right, and I think you're going to be a fantastic... It's not even I think you're going to be a fantastic mum. You're going to be a fantastic mum. And the reason why I think you're going to be a fantastic mum is because you have a fantastic mum.
Yeah.
And there's things that you're going to learn off your mum that your mum does that you don't like,
Yeah.
that you won't do to your children.
Yeah.
And there's things that you've inherited that she does to you that you love, that you realise has a major effect on you, that you think, if that never happened. And you're going to learn these things, and there's going to be things that you're going to see in your partner that you've learned off me, that you're going to say, that's how not, I'm not going to say that's how my partner should be, but you're going to learn how things should be. Yeah. You understand? By my mistakes. Yeah. You know what I mean? And this is important. So you to say how you're going to be a parent, I asked you that question. But in my head, I already know you're going to be an amazing parent.
Oh.
Okay?
Hope so. I hope so. Otherwise, Dad, you'll be babysitting every week.
I'm not doing no babysitting.
It'll be, Dad, where are you, Mum?
I think we'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think we'll enjoy it.
You better enjoy it. I do think an important thing about the topic we're talking about today is appreciation. I think it's important that obviously every different family is different. The people you consider your family is different. The reasons you consider them your family is different. But I believe those people that you do hold close to your heart, it's very important that you do appreciate them. And one thing I've realised as well is, as I've gotten older, is that I know anything can happen at any time.
No, it's not anything can happen. It's gonna happen.
Yes, but I'm just like, let me finish. I know life is unpredictable, right?
Yeah.
The moment you feel like something's gone on for a while, it switches up on you. Can be in a good way, can also be in a bad way, right? Good things can happen as well as bad things. But I know at this present time in my life, things won't always be like this.
No, changes.
Yeah, things won't always be like this. And as much as you can go through bad moments, it's the good moments too. Like, these good moments, they won't always be here like this. Do you get what I mean? And I'm just so grateful for that I have the family that I have. And I've really learnt to appreciate them while they are here with me. While I get to spend the time with them that I do. Like, I'm so great. Like, you know, my sisters, one day they're going to grow up and go off and have their own families. And...
I don't think they will. I think they're going to stay here.
You know, like, who knows? Like, one day things won't
I think I'll end up growing up and leaving the family.
But yeah, so I'm really grateful for each and every single one of my family members. I really am. Like, I consider myself a very blessed woman who's got to experience such amazing people. And I wish I realised that younger, but I feel like the things that I've gone through in life have moulded me now to have the level of appreciation that I have. Because when I was younger, I just didn't grasp it like that.
You thought it was just going to be like that forever.
Yeah, I just think...
Yeah, but that's normal.
You know, part of it is the ignorance that comes with being younger. You know, you don't really understand the world as much as you think you do. There's a lot that you've still got to learn about yourself, life, and all the rest. So at this present moment, I just think whoever that person is, even if you've fallen out with them and, you know, it's something that easily can
pick up
mended.
The phone.
Yeah, like, reach out to them. Like, it's not
Send
too
a
late.
Message.
Yeah. You know, it's worth a try.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You know, like I'll always say, see a car will always be replaced. Your clothes will always be replaced. Your TV will be replaced. These mics will be replaced. You know, everything will be replaced. This is all materialistic things. You know, I know it sounds sad, but your friends come and go. I know it sounds really sad. Some just stay, then go for a long time, you know.
Different people have parts to play in your life at different times.
Yeah, and your family You can't change them. You can change your car, you can change your friends, but you can't change your family. And that's why it's important that your family are stuck with you. And you are stuck with your family. So to appreciate them, like I said to you, like, you know, I love my family with all my heart. We all have our ups and our downs. We all have different personalities, but we've got to accept it. Yeah? And that's why that word, when you said accept it, yeah, is to me, is the most powerfulest word in the world, is acceptance. And I don't think a lot of people actually understand that. And if anyone has actually got this far in this podcast and can actually reevaluate that word acceptance, you can't be gay if you don't accept it. Yeah? You can't get over a relationship if you don't accept it. You can't move on from another job if you can't accept it. If your lover's died in your relationship and you don't accept it, you cannot move on. And this applies to everything in life. Yeah? So you now, to sit back and not accept anything, it's not a good thing. All right? So acceptance is a very, very, very strong word.
Yeah.
And
it's a powerful word as well.
Yeah, it's a powerful
There's
word.
been quite a few occasions in my life. We'll get into them. We'll get into it in another podcast. You know already what I mean. Well, I don't know. You might be like, what the hell is she talking about? But there's been a few times in my life where acceptance has played a really, really massive role.
It plays part in everyone's role.
And you'd be surprised the difference it makes when you just accept it.
You accept it. And it's not easy to do that.
It's not easy. You can spend a really long time trying. But if you're persistent and you just, you can't change, it is what it is at the end of the day.
The word acceptance, is what created this book.
Yeah.
I couldn't accept that my dad had passed. Just couldn't accept it. All right, and I struggled and I struggled and I struggled, and what made me accept it was start putting pen to paper and start writing, and that's what did it. And I started to accept him, and the moment I accept he had gone was the moment I could start thinking of him happily. Yeah. Do you understand? And say there's nothing I can do. No. All right, and I've just got to enjoy everything that I have here. And that's why I say to you, make sure you appreciate everything, because one day, you're going to be sitting here or watching this video back, and the same way I pine, and everyone out there that's lost anyone, they would watch videos back, they want to listen to their voice, they want to touch their hands, they want to kiss them, smell them, rub them, have a bit of their hair, they want to just be able to just one more time, give me that one more chance with my family, my mum, my dad, my uncle, my granddad. One more, please, just one more chance. There's no more. You can't. And that's why when they're here, you really have to appreciate it. It's really important.
It's very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like now I ain't got my dad here to appreciate, so I wish I could, but I can't, and I've accepted that. But yeah. How did today go for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed these podcasts get a little bit deep, and then they're a little bit laughy.
No, they're gonna cheer up. I mean, you brought it up. Family, do you know what I mean? But
it's real life stuff. It's real life. It's real life.
Yeah,
it's real life.
People will resonate with it.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people can relate.
Yeah, they will. I mean, the reason why is, like I said to you, please understand the reasons why these subjects have been picked is because they all relate to our book. It's lovely for you to read about a character in a book and really know that character. All right, I'm on about like, I know him. So when you read that book and you see where it was all done, and you understand exactly, it ain't going to feel like that book is being done by my true stories. It's going to feel like it's your story. You know it. You've been there already. And that's what we're trying to... That is why it's so important that we're trying to make sure that we are very transparent and making sure that you feel it more than you've read any other book.
Yeah.
It's going to be different. It's a different experience. Yeah?
It is indeed. Yeah.
Right, do you want to say like a goodbye or something?
Yeah, you know me. I always like to round the video up. So, thank you guys for watching, listening. It's been a pleasure as always. Really enjoying doing these with you, Dad.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I
am. And obviously, I pick the subjects, so we are easing ourselves into it, even though there is seriousness in each one. But the juicy stuff is coming. We're just making our way there.
We've got some great contacts. We'll be doing some podcasts in some different areas soon.
Yes,
different
we will.
locations. That's going to be great. We've got some sponsorship coming. That's going to be good as well.
Yeah.
We're in talks with it. We'll let you know as it goes on. I just want to say thank you to our subscribers on YouTube. I wish I had my phone here and I would have called them out, but I'll go through every single one. Johnny Boy, we've got Russell, we've got, there's so many out there, and you guys, look, if you're all subscribing, please comment. It's important, and it makes a difference. You know what I mean? I love to see what you guys think. You know, acceptance is important, you know, and
if you've got any opinions that counteract anything that we've said today, let us know.
Yeah,
you know, if you think like, you know, our opinion isn't the right one, let us know. We want to hear your opinions. Like I said, it's a very wide subject, family itself. So we all have our own little perception on it. So it's been great talking with you. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe. One more thing. You can now listen to our podcast on Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify.
We will have it out on other streaming platforms soon. But if you don't have the time to sit there and watch our lovely faces, you can just pop us on in the background and listen to it while you're doing your bits and bobs. The only way we knew, father and daughter podcast. So
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else I'd like to say? Not really. Just like what I say, it's been an amazing day, another amazing day. It's late at night, we finished work, and we'd love to fit this in. I'd just like to say thank you as well for joining us, and we will see you
next Sunday at 5 p.m.
Ciao, ciao.
I love you, Dad.
I love you too, Ria. Are you my family?
I'm your family.
Venga.